Hello everyone, Leslie here from New Moon Creative Co. I wanted to thank you so much for signing up to receive the free training called the Super Soul Activator. As you know, I am an astrology-based brand coach, and when I look at a brand, I look at their natal charts. So the chart that was imprinted on the day that a person was born, if you're running a personal brand, or some kind of significant birthing of an organization, whether it be the signing of an LLC or the purchase of a domain name. And at that moment in time, when a business or a brand came to life and breathed their first breath, the stars made an imprint on the sky that we can read, that is called a natal chart, that informs us on the brand or a person's strengths, cosmic strengths, and opportunities. All right. So in today's training, our Super Soul Activator, I want to look at the biggest milestone, the strongest milestone, which is the sun sign. All right. So with the sun sign, also sometimes people are like, oh, your zodiac sign. This is often the sign that you would tell people if, say, someone asks you, hey, what's your sign? I'm an Aquarius. And if you don't know your sign, you can just go to Google and look up what your sign is. It'll be based on your birthday. There are 12 zodiacs. So normally for your sun sign, there is about a 28 to 30 day period that the sun is in a particular sign, and then it'll move forward. It'll keep on moving forward until it circles back around. All right, so our sun sign is actually a very important milestone for our birth chart or our brand's natal chart, because the sun helps inform us on our brand's values, our brand's strengths, and our brand's secret sauce, all right? What we do and what we do best. So today I want to take a look at our brand's values based on our sun sign. I don't know about you, but you might have heard people talking about what are your brand values. I hear a lot about this just because I'm in that in the circle of branding and design, and we talk a lot about the values of a brand. And why that's so important is because when we have something to stand for, people know and can connect with us better, because if our values resonate with their values, they're going to instantly be connected with us, right? And now the important thing is to say, well, I don't, to not choose too many values, because if you stand for everything, you actually don't stand for anything, all right? So this is where I'd like us to delve in a little bit based on our sun sign to discover our brand's values. All right, so give me a moment while I share with you the download. If you need this download, you can find it in my Facebook group called The Savvy Illuminary. The Savvy Illuminary is a free Facebook group for women entrepreneurs or women that own a business or a personal brand. And if you go to the files section on the Facebook group, you will see this download here for the Super Soul Activator. All right, so just scrolling through, this will just give you a little bit of insight if you're just working on this worksheet without going through this video training. But basically what I have here is a shortcut of each of the astrological signs. And in each sign, I have an element, a quality, and some of the top values that resonate with this sign. Now, I go through all 12 of the signs in this booklet, so you can pick the sign that you are. I'm an Aquarius, so I'm going to scroll down to Aquarius because I have an easier time talking about Aquarius than I do others, because that's the one I know the best. All right, so the Aquarius, the element that rules the Aquarius is air. We're going to go in depth about the elements. And then the quality that rules Aquarius is fixed. We'll also go deep about that. And then the values. These are the top values that an Aquarius person may or may not have. Now, as I read through these top values that an Aquarian person might have, or an Aquarius brand would have, some of these are going to resonate with you and some of these just aren't going to resonate with you, and that's okay. So like I was saying, that the sun sign is just really one part of our overall brand, our brand natal chart, right? It's a very important part. But sometimes there are relationships or other planets that are reacting to the sun that might give it a different filter or a different feel. So if some of these things in your sign don't completely resonate with you, it's okay. That just means that we have to dig deeper into your chart to see what else is going on and why you might not be resonating with those things. So when I read the values here for an Aquarius, being assertive, independent, progressive, analytical, I'm reading some of these things, and yes, some of them really, really do apply to me. For example, I like to think that I'm original and inventive, and I can be a little detached, but that's not really a value I'd like to resonate with. I don't feel that I'm very extreme, but I do really need my individualistic freedom. So see, some of these things are relating to me and some are not. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to remember your element and your quality, and then scroll down to page 15, where I would like you to jot in your sun sign. So I'd put Aquarius here, my element, which is air, and my quality, which is fixed. All right, so the next thing that I'd like us to do is I want us to look at page 16, and I want to talk a little bit about the elements and how this relates to our astrological sign. So these elements represent energy archetypes. Now, all cultures actually have these kind of elemental archetypes that relate to our psychological being or our personalities. There are traditionally 4 elements, and I believe that in Chinese astrology, they actually have the 5th element called wood. But for this Western astrology, we're going to focus on these 4 elements: fire, water, air, and earth. All right. So if you think of these as energies, this is going to make a lot of sense to you. So with people who have a fire element, that energy gives them this ability to connect with spirit, to really ignite and to really connect with their higher self. All right. Lots of inspiration, lots of stimulation, lots of creativity. With water people, this is they move from their heart. They like to feel their way through things. They can be sensitive, they can be sentimental, they're very nurturing, and they love to connect at a heart level. For air people, like an Aquarius, we work from our mind. We do our best work when we are working with our mind, when we are thinking, when we are analyzing, when we are planning, all right? And then earth people do really, really well when they are grounded and practical and literally have their feet to the earth and they are moving. They're dancing, they are doing yoga, they are essentially meditating through their body. All right, so I want you to look at these elemental attributes, and I want you to go back to page 15 and jot down to listen to your, for me, I would be putting my mind and my intellect here. So if you need a few minutes, just please pause this video, jot down your thoughts when you, how you need to listen to your body, your mind, your heart, or your higher self. All right. Once you have that done, we'll continue on, and I want to talk about how to flow to energize. So if we go back to page 16, why I have this here to get into the flow is I'd like us to start looking at where we really are in our strengths. All right. So like on a Monday when you're not feeling so good and you're kind of stuck, but you really have shit to do, how do you get into the flow? I want you to look at these things. So like for fire people, maybe to get into the flow, maybe you spend 5 minutes meditating or daydreaming or praying. For water people, to get in the flow, maybe you create art or journal and you really listen to your heart and what is your heart telling you. For airy people like me, like an Aquarius, for me to get really thinking or to get motivated during the week, guess what I'm doing? I'm planning out my Monday. I'm planning my entire week on that Monday in order for me to get organized. If I am not organized on that Monday, my whole week goes to hell. And if you're an earth sign, maybe when you need to get into the flow to get things done, you're gonna do a couple of stretches or a 5-minute yoga flow, or put on your favorite music and do a little dance. And it's very true. I was actually in a webinar just the other day, and the woman that runs the webinar invited me to be a guest, and she is an earthy person. And at one point during her webinar, she actually has a dance break, and she invites all of her people that are participating online to get up and dance. Now, for me as an air person, that's the last thing that I want to do. But for her and her group that had a lot of earthy people, it really worked. So go back to page 15, and I want you to write in a couple of things here that you can do to get into the flow or to energize when you're feeling in a slump. All right. Now, I am taking you on a journey here, so you'll have to trust me a little bit to just kind of follow these steps. The next thing I want us to do is I want us to look at our strengths based on our qualities. I want you to scroll down to page 17, and this is kind of our little cheat sheet for our qualities. You'll see here that there are 3 different qualities. There's cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal signs are the leaders and the instigators. These are the people that can spark things into action. They're super active and energetic and have just all this energy to get to start things. Now, fixed people, I'm an Aquarius and I'm part of the fixed sign. It says here that we're persistent. Sorry, I'm missing a T there. I'm perfectly imperfect, so excuse the typos on this worksheet here. But persistent is definitely a quality of mine. People love to work with me because I get shit done. I am like a bulldog and I don't stop doing things until it's completed to the end. So when you have a project and you need somebody to help you get things finished to the end, you find somebody who has a fixed quality. Now, mutable people are the people that you want to have on your team when you have things that are unpredictable, like if you're holding events that you just have no control over. You want a mutable person on your team because they can go with the flow, they can change on a dime, and they're always going to be able to manage all these changes with a smile on their face. They're never going to freak out because something didn't go as planned. All right, so those are the mutable people. And so even though there might be things on these lists that say, like, for example, stubborn, or that might not seem very positive, those are, I like us to reframe those things and think of those as qualities that are definitely endearing. All right. So below here, you'll find the quality and elements, and this is going to be a handy dandy chart for us to kind of cross-reference. Again, I'm an Aquarius, so I can look at, I'm an air sign and I'm fixed. So what that means as an Aquarius, an inherent strength for an Aquarius person who definitely relates to their sun sign, is that if they are working in their mind, planning, organizing, analyzing, and you give them a project, they are going to be sure to complete it to their end. Like my husband is also an Aquarius, and he can get things done that it's almost beyond, like he's more of an Aquarius than I am. And he can do really highly intellectual things and finish them to the end where I would probably give up. Not completely Aquarius. I'm not as much Aquarius as he is. So what I would like you now to do is to go back to page 15 and gathering the information from the qualities page. I'd like you to write down your strengths and see if that really resonates with you. All right. So pause this video if you need a couple of minutes to gather your thoughts. And when you're ready, just press play. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about are values. In the very beginning, we talked about our values and how it's important for a brand to know their values and what they stand for. And if we stand for too many things, we talked about we don't really stand for anything. But when we're focused and we know our values, not only do we know where we stand and our customers know where we stand, but everything else falls to the wayside and it enables us to focus and work in our strengths. All right, so let's go to the very page 18, where I have this teeny tiny list. I apologize to people who have a hard time reading this. I realize it's very small. I also have a hard time reading this, but I wanted to make sure that I got as many values as I could on this list. And what I'd like you to do for your personal brand, or if you're running a larger organization where your personal preferences are not the one all end all, I want you to think of the values for your entire organization. So what I'd like you guys to do is circle 20 to 30 of these values that you resonate with. All right, so pause this video and take your time to circle 20 to 30 of these values. When you're done, hit play again. So now that you've selected 20 or 30 values, this is too many values. You'll probably recognize as you're reading through these values that certain themes kept on popping up, that there are words that are very similar to one or to another. So what you'll probably notice, the next thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to create 4 or 5 different buckets of all of the things that you circled. So basically group like concepts together. So for example, if you selected learning and intellect and wisdom and thoughtfulness, like those could be considered one theme depending on your perspective, right? So you could put those all into one grouping of wisdom. That's what I would do, because wisdom for me is a value. And in my terms of wisdom, my wisdom encompasses lifelong learning from mistakes, being imperfect, and learning to love those flaws. To me, all of those things are wisdom. All right, so I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So pause this video and spend the time that you need to categorize your 20 or 30 values and distill them into 4 or 5 different groups. And when you are done with that, push play. So now that you have your values distilled into 4 or 5 different buckets, I want you to create a label for each of those. So earlier I was saying that wisdom is a bucket of mine, and I've labeled, for me, wisdom is my value that I've labeled that encompasses a bunch of different things. So wisdom is a value for mine, of my brand. Another value of mine is inclusivity. If you know me, you'll find out that I have friends of all ages, of all genders, of all colors, of all ethnicities. I just love people. The only people that I really can't get along with are people that are not inclusive, the people that are exclusive, because that goes against my value of inclusivity. All right. Let me turn off my phone here. And another value of mine is motivation and optimism. I'm inherently a happy person, and I love to motivate and inspire other people. So to me, that motivation and inspiration and optimism, even though those are 3 different words and 3 different values, I've put them into one bucket of inspiration. So I want you guys to do the same there. All right. So go back to page 15 and list your top 5 values. So now that you know your elements and your qualities, your what brings you energy, what brings you strengths, I'm hoping that this is giving you a clue onto what to focus on in your brand, right? This is one way that we can combat overwhelm, is by knowing where to focus. And our sun sign allows us to go deep and uncover where we need to focus on. So if we are always working in our strengths, if we are always working in alignment with our values, everything else can fall away. It's not that saying, hey, I'm not gonna take care of bookkeeping because I hate numbers, right? That just means that you know that you need to hire that part out. I do. Right? It's not to say that you have a ton of busy work and that busy work or those customer inquiries can't go unanswered. Somebody needs to answer that in your business. Maybe it's not you. Maybe you need to outsource that and hire that out so that you can work and focus on the things that bring you the most energy and work in your strengths. All right. So I hope that this training, this Super Soul Activator, has shed some light on how to use your astrological sun sign to make decisions in your brand. As I was saying earlier, this is just a small portion of our natal chart, an important one, but just one small portion. And if you're interested in learning more about how you can expand and grow your brand using your astrological gifts, please contact me. There's lots of links on my website on how you can get in touch with me, and you can even join. I hope you've already joined to get this download, the Savvy Luminary, but please share any challenges that you might be having there, as well as your sun sign, maybe your moon sign, as well as your rising sign, because in my, I have a bigger offering, a bigger training called the Crystallized, it's called Crystallize, and it's a brand coaching training based on your astrological natal chart. And I've worked with many customers and clients and helped them grow and expand their brand and to create a truly unique brand based on their star charted gifts. Because the day that you were born or your brand was born, there's no other brand or person born at that exact moment in time, at that exact place in time, that would create the exact same natal chart. So by looking at your natal chart, we can create a brand, a business that is specific to you and your strengths. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please contact me on my website, newmooncreative.co, and we can go from there. So I really hope that you found this mini training valuable, and pop me a note somewhere and tell me what you thought about that. All right, good to talk with you, and have a great day. Bye.